Hi friends, it's Belinda here from Be Making Joy, and today I have a ton of acquisitions to show you, and I have 3 finished projects to share. One of them, I was going to make it bigger, but after it spent too much time in my lost luggage, I've decided to call it done at the smaller version so I can move on. So hi, welcome to episode 61 of What Brings Me Joy, a mostly knitting podcast from my home here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where I share my knitting progress with you so you can help me keep track of all my whips, my works in progress, everything I cast on, make sure I eventually finish them. And sometimes you get sneak peeks at my upcoming design, but there are no designs in this episode. I'm recording this on Thursday, October the 2nd, 2025. It's been a month since my last recording, and I've been traveling. So if you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, I'm so glad to have you back. This episode, I'm going to go a little differently. Normally I go finished objects, works in progress, and then acquisitions. Oh, life update gets thrown in there. But this episode is going to be pretty much life update with all those other things sprinkled in chronologically because I've been gone for a month. So, yeah, my luggage went missing twice. So the first week of September, Ilana and I went to visit family in Nova Scotia from Wednesday the 3rd to Monday the 8th. We were gone. Only 5 days. We stayed at my mom and dad's. We actually stayed in their camper in their driveway because they now live in a pretty tiny place. And my brother and his wife visited several times. And we also got to see my cousin, an aunt and an uncle, and another uncle. Great visit. We timed our trip with the Fibre Festival Woolstock East out of New Glasgow, Pictou County, Nova Scotia. And that was a lot of fun. Big highlight was as we were getting out of the car in the parking lot, this lady came running over to say hi, and turned out she was a friend of mine from back here in Calgary. We used to be in the same congregation together years ago. So it turns out her daughter lives in Nova Scotia, so she went down for the Fibre Festival and took a friend of hers down with her. And it was quite amazing that we happened to be in the parking lot at the same time. That was fun. The Fibre Festival was fabulous. I have some footage for you I'll put in here. It wasn't just yarn. It was quilts, rug hooking, embroidery, sewing, spinning, anything fiber related. So it was a lot of fun. That reminds me, I got a business card for somebody who sells little mini electric spinning wheels. I might go online and buy. Maybe. Anyway, let's show you the things that I bought at the Nova Scotia, the Woolstock East Fibre Festival. Let's start there. So I bought more there than I had at any other festival that we went to. Ilana and I both bought a fair bit. So, let's go through it. I'm going to pull you a little closer here. Here we go. So, I found a project bag in purple. As you know, is my favorite color. Little handles, drawstring closures. I like bags that close up. Zippers are great too, but zippers snag your yarn. The drawstring closures are great. And it could tuck inside. This little carry bag. This is a pocket. And then there's a zipper pocket. Were there inside pockets? Yes, there's a bunch of inside pockets too. Not sure if I can show you that. There's inside pockets around the outside of the lining, so it's 2 layers of fabric. And it is from, I don't remember. Yellow Petal Handmade from Nova Scotia. Cotton linen canvas. So that's nice. I'm going to just throw everything on the floor, as always. From a different shop, I got this little bag. I bought this one first and that one later. Dragonflies. Isn't that pretty? The orange and blue. Drawstring. Boop. both drawstrings are different colors. I didn't notice that. Very neat. And lined. Is it lined? Yeah, the double layer of fabric. No extra pockets. Just a perfect little sock bag. And it was fairly inexpensive. No tags on it. I don't remember the name of the shop. The shop had other quilted items. This one's not quilted, but it had other quilted items at this table as well. Anyway, I guess that's all I can tell you about that. I bought some fiber for spinning. I've got 3 braids from one shop. So let's check the tags. No, the shop name's not on the tags, and I don't remember the shop name. But this one is 70% Shetland wool and 30% silk. Feels so nice. This one is blue face Leicester. Very nice. And this one is Faroe Island sheep. So they're all 100-gram hanks for spinning. Braids for spinning. Okay. Oh, this little bookmark came also from Yellow Petal. They threw it in free with your order, with the one I bought the first bag from. So it just goes on to the corner of your page. Very cute. Yeah, my friend Megan from Pearl Passion was there. Megan, like me, grew up in Nova Scotia, but she now lives in Amsterdam, Saskatchewan. But she was set up there with a booth. So Pearl Passion, there's her tag. These bases are fingering weight, 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 10% stellina. So I got 2 hanks of silver. Do you see the sparkle? And 2 hanks of, it says Bluetiful. Bluetiful? Yeah, Bluetiful. That is Bluetiful. I don't know if the camera's picking up the silver. Yep, the sparkle. There we go. So that will be a shirt of some kind, sweater, t-shirt, I don't know. Oh, I apologize. As always, when I come back from traveling, I am sick again, especially when we go somewhere where it's nice and moisture in the air, and then we come back here where it's so dry, it just sucks right out of me. So, I apologize for my coughing. At Twin Pines Alpaca, I picked up this wrist yarn holder. I'm going to open it. I'll cut out the crinkling. And so, this goes in here. And this, I guess, has to be attached to the top. And you put your cake of yarn on here. And you carry it around on your wrist while you knit. And of course, it's Nova Scotia themed. The centerpiece is a lighthouse. Wrong way. Oops, there we go. And then on the board, we've got the lobsters and the sailboats. That's fun. I'll assemble it later. Let's put that over here. Still lots more in here. From Green Gable Alpacas. Yeah, Green Gable Alpacas from Prince Edward Island was there. So I bought a llama. And I believe he's actually made with llama wool. Yeah, dry clean only, handmade, 100% baby alpaca. Not suitable for children under 3 years. Oh, it's made in Peru. So they didn't actually make it at Green Gable Alpacas, but it certainly fits their theme well. They have some very cute alpacas on their farm. I've been following them for a while because I bought some yarn from them back in last year at the PEI Fiber Festival. Anyway, so he'll sit somewhere in my view. I have a little shelf up there. Maybe he'll go. Okay. Okay, this one from Natural You. It's called Hocus Pocus. I picked it up because I love how the coral and the purple go together. It's 80% organic merino wool, 20% recycled nylon, 100 grams, 400 meters, so that's fingering weight. Naturally dyed, made in Canada, and I like the tagline, be natural, be you, EWE. So I don't know what that will become, but it was my color. Just great. Okay, and from Wool and Wanderlust. Where it is. Wool and Wanderlust, also out of Nova Scotia, of course. From Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Lisa C. Westlake was the hand dyer. This colorway is called Stay the Blazes Home, which during COVID, the Premier of Nova Scotia famously was telling everybody to stay the blazes home. So it's, the base is called Magical Mulberry. It's 75% superwash merino, 25% mulberry silk. So very soft, very nice, fingering weight. Again, don't know what it's going to become, but I just needed to have that theme. And also at Wool and Wanderlust, I was looking for mohair to go with. I'll get up and grab it. I have a actually, now that I think about it, I might not go with this, but this was an acrylic Cloud Cakes from Caring Cakes, and it's fluffy in its own right, so maybe it doesn't pair with it, but I wanted to find colors to blend with it. Or there's other purple yarn around, so I wanted to find a mohair to blend with it for a future sweater pattern of some sort. So, this is Beautiful Baby Surrey, a 75% brushed Surrey alpaca, 25% mulberry silk, 300 meters for 50 grams. They're both the same base. The colors are slightly different, of course. Other color names. This one's called London Gems, and this one is called Crown Jewels. So they go quite well together. So yeah. Lovely. And Nerds with Needles. Also out of Nova Scotia. Interesting little sticker tag, Nova Scotia Loyal. I don't know where that comes from. This colorway is called Stay Weird, from Lilo and Stitch movie. 84% extra fine superwash merino, 16% stellina. So the stellina makes the sparkle, which I think you can clearly see right now. I don't know what my plan was for it, but the colors just spoke to me. And also from Nerds with Needles, Moon Mist. Moon Mist is an ice cream that was invented in Nova Scotia back in the 60s or 70s, I guess. So it was my favorite flavor for quite some time. This one is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. Also fingering weight. Again, don't know what it will become, but I needed it. Nova Knits, Colchester, Nova Scotia. 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Fingering weight. The colorway is called Naughty Witch. Ilana picked this one out. I don't remember if we're making socks or we're making a Tracy cardie. I think we were making a Tracy cardie. So I'm supposed to knit up the yoke section, and then we go to a store and pick out a solid to match with it. So the Tracy cardie is a pattern that I've designed. So I think that's what this is supposed to become. Some other unique spinning fiber from Twin Pine Alpacas. It's the same place I got this from. Yeah, it is. So this one is sea cell top, 60 grams, made from seaweed plants. So I poked a hole in it so I could feel it. Surprisingly soft. And this one is rose fiber. So from a rose plant. 60 grams. Product of Asia. This one says product of Europe. Okay, that's interesting. So when I get back on my spinning journey, those will be fun to play with. And then, last but not least, when my cousin came to visit at my mom and dad's, she gifted me this, which is also from Nova. Oops. Nova. I believe she said the dyer is her friend. Nova Knits of Colchester. 80% superwash, 20% nylon. There's no color name on it, but it does kind of remind me of Moon Mist, but much darker and deeper than Moon Mist. I don't know. But she knows I like the purples and the blues, so thank you so much, Meredith. Okay. That was this basket. Let me clean that up and get right back to you. Now, what did I work on while I was in Nova Scotia? I took Cassie's socks for the plane and the Ooey Gooey sweater for when I was visiting. So Cassie's socks, you saw last episode. I was working on them in Winnipeg as well. Until I had issues. So now I've gone up the leg, ready to start the cuff. Let's see, last episode I was ready to start the heel. So in my airplane travels, I did the heel, did the gusset, a heel turn, and then a heel flap. And then starting up the cuff, the leg. The leg, I chose a 2x2 ribbing to cinch it in because it was looking a little large. I did try them on my husband's feet later because he's similar to my daughter's size. But I think the foot is going to be too long. I blame the heel pattern that I picked out of this book. This is the fourth pattern I've worked out of this book that I've had to adjust. It doesn't take into account row gauge. So what I think I'm going to do is next time I see my daughter, I'll get her to try them on and figure out exactly how long they are. I will cut it at where these colors join at the toe. I will cut that off, put it back on the needles, well, unravel however many rows I need, and then graft the two together to make it shorter. And I need to choose a cuff. I'm going to get my daughter to choose one out of this book. It's a flip book. You know, I keep complaining about this book, but I keep going back to it because even though I have to adjust the pattern slightly, it's still a good book. So anyway, there's a bunch of cuff designs in there, and I was having trouble choosing one, so maybe I'll let my daughter choose one. So now it's on hold until I see her again. This yarn, it's called Californication. It's from Ginger Snap. That's December 2022 box, rock and roll themed. So Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, inspired by their album cover. And the toe and heels, I have no idea what they are. And then the Ooey Gooey sweater by Andrea. Let's start over. The Ooey Gooey sweater by Andrea Mowry. This was her Rhinebeck sweater design. So many people are doing a knit along to wear at Rhinebeck in a couple of weeks. I won't be going to Rhinebeck. I will be in San Diego at that time. So anyway, I cast it on just before the trip and was working through the patterning while I was in Nova Scotia. And it's beyond the split for sleeves and body. So it's on a long cord so I could try it on. So I'll show you a picture of me with it tried on at this stage. The yarns I'm using, as soon as the body is finished with the skein, I'll go to do the sleeves. That's my motives up random. Anyway, the yarns I'm using are the ones I bought at Biscott Yarns in Gatineau, Quebec, back beginning of August. So Biscott Yarns. The base is La Douce MCN. MCN means Merino Cashmere Nylon. And there are no color names on the label, but the main body and the contrast. And I am really loving how it's knitting up. And it's so soft. That Merino Cashmere Nylon is so soft. So, lovely. So, it will come with me. We're in San Diego in a couple of weeks. It will come with me on that project because I think it's appropriate that I continue working on it while dozens of other people are wearing it at Rhinebeck. Okay, let's pack that back up. My project bag was one of my kids' old backpacks, drawstring backpacks. Okay, so that's on hold till we travel. Now, our Europe trip. I was only back home from Nova Scotia for 5 days, and then my husband and I went on our Europe trip. This trip coincided with our 26th wedding anniversary. Speaking of which, I ran an anniversary sale on all my patterns for the month of September, so I want to thank everyone who made a purchase. Thank you. So before starting our travels, I got 2 Musselburgh hats started for the plane. Let's find those. So, both of them are now finished, which I will show you shortly. Our first stop was in Amsterdam, where I got to visit Stephen and Penelope's yarn shop. And I'm so sad that I didn't take a picture of their shop. So the plan there was to buy a kit for this year's Stephen West Mystery Knit Along and to buy yarn to add to these 2 Musselburgh hats. So, the kits came in a wooden cardboard box, and I've got everything else jammed in here too. It wouldn't fit in the box normally until I used my compression sack. I love this compression sack, but I can't seem to find any more. It doesn't seem to exist anymore. But this is a tracker compression sack from Bentley years ago. Anyway, the box got nicely beat up in the suitcase while my suitcase was missing. So that's going to get trashed. Ooh, gone. What else fell? My receipt. I need to deal with my receipt. Anyway, So, what's in this bag? Let's uncompress you. Wake up all the yarn. All right, the kit. Oh, there's a Zoom to attend October 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 20-something each Thursday during the IMCAL craft afternoon. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to check that QR code, get more information. So this is Stephen West, and he's been designing these mystery knit-alongs for, I think it's 15 years now. And let's get to the base. Get to that first. Let's get the other stuff out of the way. Oh, you're caught up there. So the kit that I chose, Dorothy has some bright color combinations, but I chose a more neutral combination. I chose grays and blacks as my kit. And his theme this year is musical. So he talks about these being a crescendo, or I don't know, all the different musical terms. So, but then I decided to pair it with some glow hair, which I've got 3 different glow hair colors that I can add into this. Glow hair is West Wool, Stephen's line. I think I need my glasses again. It's a 64% mohair, 36% mulberry silk. And this color is corduroy. This one is green olive. And this one is enchanted. So those paired with these grays in a mystery shawl. So we'll see what we get. And oh, I didn't tell you what these grays were. It is a new line for Stephen and Penelope. It's West Wool Hex, which I like because the honeycomb theme goes with my bee making joy theme. Is 85% merino wool, 15% nylon. And I don't know if the colors actually have names. Don't think they do. Because they're just basic, I guess. Oh, this one's called Canal House. As you probably know, Amsterdam is full of canals. Oh, this one's called Dutch Sky. There we go. Canal House, Dutch Sky. Gray... Javik? I don't know. And Architect, which are very fitting because Amsterdam has such beautiful architecture and the canals. I loved it there. So that's my MCAL kit, which also came with a project bag, which is a large tote bag with a shoulder strap. That's useful. What does it say? High Key Crafty, Stephen and Penelope, Amsterdam. And it has some stickers in it. All that. Oh, a what do you call these things? Embroidery crest. Camp blanket crest. Yarn Lover. And because it's a musical theme, we've got a tape, cassette tape. High Key Crafty. And headphones. I don't know what I'll do with the stickers. My middle daughter loves stickers. Maybe she might be interested in them. Like that. That's neat. Okay, you go over there. And then I needed souvenir yarn. He has a line of bicycle, tricycle, and tandem. So I bought 2 bicycles to make socks for my husband, I believe, who does triathlons, swimming, biking, running. So I think that's appropriate to make a pair of socks for him out of this bicycle. And glasses, where'd you go? I have like 3 pairs of glasses floating around here. This is fingering weight, 50 grams gains. Why am I still struggling to read it? There we go. 100% South American wool, merino. The colorway is denim. And that's the bicycle line. 2 of them for a pair of socks. And then we bought matches for our Musselburghs, which I then proceeded to use. So this Musselburgh, I began with yarn from Ancient Arts here in Calgary. Passed it on and worked on it on the plane out. It's an 80% superwash, 20% nylon, fingering weight. This was the color of the month for September, Into the Great Wide Open. That was the top. So we had to match that. And we found tricycle yarn, which is 100% superwash merino. And I bought the color aquamarine, which is the blue, of which I used for other things as well. So all I have left of it so now is this. I'll tell you the rest of it later. For the first brim. And I bought, where'd the other tag go? Rose Witha for the second brim. So this Musselburgh is finished. Musselburgh by Yasota Teed is a long tube that then folds in half to a reversible hat. The one end tucks up inside the other. And it's reversible then with the 2 brim colors. So let's go ahead and mess up my hair. If we fold up the one way, we've got the one color as the brim. And if we tuck it through the other way and fold up, we've got the other color as our brim. So I'm quite pleased with that. I'm going to offer it to one of my daughters. And then the other Musselburgh that I had started, I got set up before the trip, was from, this yarn was called The Greatest Yarnie Adventure. It was a collaboration between Nitty Natty and Wool and Women Fibers. Came in a kit with a project bag and stitch markers 2 years ago. It came knitted with 2 fingering weights held together, knitted up into a sock blank, which is a rectangle, and then it's dyed in that form. And then the theory is, as you're unraveling it and knitting what you knit, I was splitting the 2 yarns apart and knitting 2 at a time socks, but I didn't like how it was forming in the toes. Like this section here looks really, really faded, and in socks looked dirty. So I unraveled it, rolled it all back up into a ball. So now it's double-stranded yarn rolled up into a ball. So I started knitting this double-stranded, which makes it to a DK weight gauge. So I went looking for a DK weight yarn to pair with it. And Tandem Tandem is the DK weight yarn. It's 100% South American merino wool. And I was going to pair it with this for the other half of the hat. I wasn't going to do any brim colors. I was just going to do one half in this color and the other half in this color, so that when you fold it, this became the brim for that, or this color became the brim for that. But the suitcase went missing. And so when it came time, after I finished this hat and was ready to start working on this hat, I didn't have this yarn with me. So what I did have with me was the extra little mini skeins that came with this yarn for toes and heels. And these two brims were with me. And of course, since this was held double, I was going to have to hold those minis double. So I paired them together with this yarn. And this is how much was left from the first brim of the mini. This is how much was left from the second brim of the mini. And then I went back to using this color and I ran out. So I had to come up with something to finish off the second brim with. So this is the rest of this color. And here's how much is left of that. So I played yarn chicken 4 times with this hat. But I'm pleased with how it turned out. So again, let's try it on. Folds in the middle between the two brims. Tucks inside itself. It's a heavier hat than the other one. So let's get that all tucked in. Plop it on the head. Fold up the brim. So there's one version. I like. And then flop it inside the other way. Fold up the brim. So there's the other version, which is not bad. So these 2 Musselburghs I'm going to offer to my 2 oldest daughters. And this I need to put back with the right label. This was the tricycle yarn in rose with this label. Yep. Okay. Well, let me clean up that mess and get back to you again. We were only in Amsterdam for a day and a half, so that yarn and food was the only stuff we bought there. We did a hop-on, hop-off bus tour, and we did a canal boat tour. I took tons of pictures. I enjoyed every minute of it. I will, in the next little while, be putting together video clips of In Our Travels to add to that playlist, the In Our Travels playlist, in the next few days. So watch for that if you want to see more of Amsterdam, Berlin, and Barcelona. So Amsterdam, 1.5 days. Then we went to Berlin, where my husband ran the Berlin Marathon. So our hotels and whatnot were all arranged by Marathon Tours and Travels. And as soon as we checked in, they gave us this sticker. And they had arranged a bus trip through Berlin. Although the day before we did Berlin's hop-on, hop-off bus. Visited a number of historical sites, exhibits, the monument for murdered Jews, and the Berlin Wall, all the story of that. And it was really interesting. There was so much history to see. about the Cold War, the Berlin Wall, and Hitler, how he used propaganda to go from an elected ruler of Germany to what we know as a cruel dictator. So it was unbelievable, and I appreciated how the exhibits about the Holocaust all very honestly used the word murdered rather than killed, because I find our use of the word killed just kind of diminishes the act. It truly was murder. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. But I also have tons of videos from Berlin to go into in our travels video. The tour group arranged a number of meals for us, very fancy food at the, what was it called? The Ritz-Carlton. We stayed at the Marriott Bonvoy, but the Ritz-Carlton was right next door, so the events were between the two hotels, and it was fun. Dan ran the Berlin Marathon on the Sunday, and he did all right. We were both surprised by how humid it was in Berlin, because it's so far in away from the ocean, we didn't realize it was going to be humid, but turned out it was built on a swamp. So my fingers got so swollen, my hands got so swollen and sore, but we loved it. So with the marathon, there is an expo set up of things you can buy that are running related. So I bought myself a shirt. That's, of course, purple! And here's the back side. So, Berlin Marathon memory. And souvenir-wise, all I bought was this project bag, which I immediately put my GoGoDynamo Shawl into. But anyway, the bag kind of outlines the subway routes of Berlin and a river running through it. And this man, he's called Ampo Man, and he's on all the traffic lights. Red is just him standing straight still. Green is him walking, and I loved it. And this bus driver from the tour group told us the story of Ampo Man. He was originally from East Berlin, and when the wall came down and East Berlin was assimilated into West Berlin, Ampo Man disappeared off of all their traffic lights. And they weren't happy, so they raised a petition to bring him back. And now he is on all the traffic lights in all of Berlin. And yeah, so I enjoyed that, Ampo Man. So I immediately put my GoGoDynamo Shawl in here, which is the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along from last year. And in Berlin, I finished, which side's right? Yeah. In Berlin, I finished this section, which is part 1 of Clue 4. And you can end the shawl at that point, or you can add stripes across the bottom and keep the shawl going. And I originally intended to keep the shawl going, but as I said, the suitcase went missing and this was in it. So for 6 days on our next leg in Barcelona, I wanted to be working on the bottom of this, but couldn't. So I've decided now we're going to call this done at this point, so that I can be ready to start the next one, which starts today. The 2025 Mystery Knit Along starts today. So 2024 GoGoDynamo Shawl. Quite lovely. I need to weave in this final end. I did weave in all the other ends as we went. When I block it, I know it's going to stretch and grow, so this is going to be an ample size. So there's finished object number 3. The yarns in here, I do still have lots of it left over. So if in the future, a couple of years down the road, I decide to continue on and add more to the shawl, I can, because I still got so much left. I don't think I have the tag with me. No. These were from Green Gable Alpacas in PEI. This color was Sailor's Delight, and this color is something oceany. something watery. So yeah, so those will go back. Will get set aside, and in the future I can continue on the shawl, or I can knit something else with them. I need to find the labels, which I think are in this basket right here, and put them back into my inventory. And we've called this done. Yay! I'm gonna block it, have it ready to wear in a couple of days. Okay, so went yarn shopping in Berlin, of course. Went to a store that was a 25-minute walk from our hotel called Yarn Over Berlin. And this one was their store brand. Frida Fuchs. I won't try to pronounce that again. Hand-dyed yarns from Berlin. She told me the yarns come from just a neighboring town. It's 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, 10% nylon. So nice and soft, fingering weight. And I guess this word is the color, but I won't even begin to try and pronounce that. SCHLAFMOHN. And of course, purple. I'm still gravitating towards purplish colors. And also at that store, they have Sabberball. Sabberball is made in Germany. This is a 150-gram ball. 400 meters in 150 grams. So a heavy fingering, a sport weight maybe. It calls it fingering, doesn't it? Anyway, 75% virgin wool, 25% biodegradable nylon. And then this green tag talks about that. Polyamide content biodegradable, one step ahead. Whereas other synthetic fibers persist in the environment for decades before they degrade completely, natural composting processes decompose our biodegradable polyamide fiber in around 5 years. Natural decomposing processes means while it's in the compost bin, right? It's not going to decompose on your foot. As with other natural fibers, the degradation process does not occur in daily use. Further information on all our other sock yarns can be found at www.shopowool.de. So, I've heard a lot about Sabberballs. I look forward to seeing how that knits up. It's going to be such a mystery, because I'll knit straight from this ball. I won't be able to see what's coming next until it comes. So, probably socks. They'll be like matching but not identical socks. Okay, that was Berlin. So then on to Barcelona, where we had an apartment for a week. We absolutely loved it there too. Our oldest daughter met us there, and while we were missing the other two girls, it was great to hang out with Amanda. She had done a lot of research and helped us make good use of our time there. And she had studied Spanish in university, plus spent a semester in Mexico. And she spent 3 months backpacking through Chile and Argentina. So she was sufficient with her Spanish to guide us quite well. It happened to be the week of La Merce, which is an annual festival there, with many free outdoor concerts, parades, a fire run, which I'll insert a short clip of, and a closing fireworks and fountain ceremony.
Ojalá que me la encuentre entre tantas flores. Ojalá que empezara de cero y poderme decir que he pasado la vida.
And so we had a few late nights. Such amazing architecture. Every building is different with such intricate details. I was most impressed with Antoni Gaudi's masterpieces. We visited his Casa Batlló, La Pedrera, Park Güell, and were able to walk around the outside of the Sagrada Familia Cathedral. And they were all Antoni Gaudi's masterpieces. It seems he doesn't like straight lines. Anyway, we did a hop-on, hop-off bus tour and did a lot of walking. So as soon as I'm able, I will put all my photos into a separate travel blog. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to show you my souvenir-y stuff first before we get to the yarn, because my souvenirs relate to the yarn I bought. So as I've been telling you, my suitcase between Berlin and Barcelona didn't make it to Barcelona until 6 days later, which was a day and a half before we had to leave again. Why my suitcase and not Dan's, I don't know. But there was a cyber attack in Berlin a couple of days before our trip. So everything was still offline. They were doing things manually. So things happen. 6 days was a lot. So I had to do some clothing shopping. Most of what I bought was just basic athletic wear type clothing. But I do really like this blouse I found. And I was thinking it was kind of Spanish. I bought it at a store called La Salsa, which turns out to be a Portuguese store. But oh well, I love the blouse. I won't put the whole thing on, but there's an idea. And I had to go purse shopping because I have different bags for different things. And the purse that I carry when we go out and about, I tucked into the suitcase for the plane because I was carrying a tote bag with all my electronics in the tote bag. So the purse was lost in the suitcase. So I bought this one at the first shop because I need to get something to put my wallet and my phone in and the keys to the apartment. Shop called Mango. Is there a brand name on there? I can't remember. Anyway, it turns out it's not very big. There's no stretch to this fabric, so it didn't hold things very well. It just pluffed out to this great big giant brick when anything was put in it. So it wasn't very efficient. So at a roadside stall, a market stall, I found this bag and fell in love with it. We have a honeycombed pattern on the outside. It's a duffel bag. Inside the duffel bag, it's lined. It has one interior pocket. It has this cord attached where you can hook something to, I guess, your keychain. And the neat thing about it is it folds up. Which way does it fold? This way. Folds up into a backpack. And this is my inhaler that I attached to it. My inhaler cover pattern is free on my blog, by the way. So that's my inhaler. And so anyway, the backpack, it worked out very well. And I absolutely love it. And I've been saying absolutely love it so many times this episode. So very, very good. And oh, it does have a exterior pocket here, which goes up against your back when you're wearing it. Nonetheless, given that Barcelona is the blanket capital of the world, apparently. When we were in huge crowds, I wore it on my friend. Anyway. And then, as I said, I absolutely loved Antoni Gaudi's homes. So I bought a book about all his works. There are so many buildings that he was the architect of. So I look forward to reading this book for inspiration. Very close to the apartment was Casa Batillo, and there I bought this bag. I am partial to drawstring backpacks. So this is a representation of Casa Batillo, which is a 7-story house that we toured. All the pictures of it will be in the travel vlog that I do up for you. So we went to 2 yarn stores in Berlin. Both, one was like 20 minutes in the other, one direction, 20 minutes in the other direction. Where's that stuff? Hello, yarn. Oh, you're right in front of me. So the first store we went to was called it was called All You Knit Is Love. And I'll put pictures in. The first time we walked by, it was closed, I guess, for afternoon siesta. But we wandered around the little neighborhood it was in. Very cute little neighborhood with tiny little walking streets, like alleys. And came back to the store and it was open. So All You Knit Is Love. The yarn base is 1 more row. The man working the shop told me his wife hand dyed these. So this color is called Batilla Orange. And this one is Electric Blue. And my intention is to pair them together in some kind of a wavy shawl to be reminiscent of Gaudi's works. As my memory of Barcelona, which I hope to get back to again sometime. It was lovely. And then the next day we went to another yarn store called Lala Nalu. And this one was hand dyed there. Let's see. 100% Lana Marina Espanola. So, Spanish, hand dyed in Spanish, Spain. Where in Spain, I don't know. But it's the store brand. And then I found Casasol, and they had a lot of Spanish yarns in that store. I could have bought so much. I was at the cash register lying twice and then changed my mind and went back trying to decide what to buy. But this is Merino Superwash non-museled wools, a DK weight, 100% Merino Superwash, 19 micros. I don't know if I've ever seen the micros written on the label before. Made in Span, handmade. I wonder if Azul Nush, if that's the color name. I decided to pair it with this one. Which, yeah, I guess that is the color name because this one says Gardenia. So if I pair these ones together, isn't that lovely? So I bought enough of the blue to be the main color and one contrast color in a sweater. Pattern not chosen yet. So look forward to that. Buying yarn faster than I can knit it, guys. But it makes me so happy. So I guess that's it. So for October, I will be doing the Stephen West musical, Mystery Knit Along. It starts today. So I need to, did I even actually purchase that pattern yet? Do I need to go get it downloaded? I need to get those yarns wound and ready to start. Well, let's update my whip count. Where's my calendar? I was at 7 at the end of the last episode. I since cast on the Ooey Gooey sweater and 2 Musselburgh hats. I then finished both hats, and I finished the GoGoDynamo Shawl. So my whip count is back to 7, but I'm casting on that musical, so that will bring it up to 8. So for the musical, a clue comes out every week, every Thursday. So I will do a short video for you every Thursday to keep you updated on my progress with that. Somewhere in there I will also finish Cassie's socks, because I think we're seeing her 2 weeks from now before we go on our travels. The Ooey Gooey sweater will also get picked up if there's time, if I keep ahead of these clues. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed my work, give me a thumbs up, and please tell me in the comments what has been bringing you joy this week. So happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy diamond dotting, happy jigsaw puzzling, whatever it is that you like to do, go make some joy.